Hello. Welcome to my second installment of a series I'm doing about albums that meant a lot to me during different periods of my life. Today we're going to be talking about records that I loved during college. I went to music school from 2013 to 2018, and yeah, I'm going to be talking about records that were really influential and important to me during that time. We're going to go in alphabetical order. So to start us off, we have two records from Ryan Adams, Heartbreaker and Gold. These were both really important to me during my senior year of college. I was focusing a lot on songwriting. I was writing songs for what would become my second record. And Ryan's blend of like folk and country with a tinge of rock was really influential to my songwriting style at the time. His sort of like simple, direct, and sensitive style of lyric writing was also really influential to me. Heartbreaker in particular is a record that I wish I could make. Winding Wheel, To Be Young, Oh My Sweet Carolina, Call Me on Your Way Home, or Call Me on Your Way Back Home. I mean, there's so many great songs on this record, and Gold is a beautiful follow-up. So yeah, both of these were really important to me. Up next, we have Spiritual Unity by Albert Ayler. Albert Ayler was a free jazz saxophone player in the 60s. And this record came out, I believe, in 1964, and it was very groundbreaking for the time, and I feel like even when you listen to it today, it still feels jarring and very unique. Ornette Coleman had already innovated this style of playing where soloists would solo without chord changes, so like sort of eliminating harmony had already been done. Ayler's contribution was like, what if we now sort of get rid of straightforward time? So on these songs, the drummer Sonny Murray experiments with being more of a textural player and not being a straight timekeeper. There's this very like floaty sort of abstract sense of the beat throughout the record, and Albert Ayler really sort of developed his own unique language that involved overtones and growling and screaming and also melody. All these songs have simple melodies that go along with them. That was sort of the last thing that wasn't like thrown away. So it's like he's kind of getting rid of harmony and time, but there is melody and communication and emotion. So yeah, the very controversial player, controversial record, but I was really interested in the avant-garde in college, and this was a record that I kept coming back to, trying to like figure it out, and it kept bringing me back. And even when I listen to it today, it's challenging, but there's something beautiful about it that keeps pulling me back. So yeah, Albert Ayler. Next up, Sprained Ankle by Julien Baker. When Julian hit the scene, I remember her Tiny Desk concert going like kind of viral, and when I saw it, it just hit me like right at the right time. Her sincerity and her willingness to turn her like very obvious pain into art that resonated with lots of people was something that I really admired about her. Yeah, there was just like this, like watching her perform, seeing how vulnerable she was, and there's like a little bit of shyness mixed with this authority, because like you can't play these songs without having some kind of confidence. because they're so personal. And yeah, I really liked that about her. I remember driving 3 hours to Massachusetts to go see her play in a room that fit like maybe 100 people, and you could hear a pin drop when she was playing. It was one of the quietest concerts I've ever been to, and it was very, very moving. And Phoebe Bridgers opened for her, and nobody even knew who she was. It was like before Phoebe's debut album came out. And yeah, what a beautiful show. I wish I could experience that again. But this record has really held up. There's great songs on it, and I think it's still Julian's best work. So, yeah. Next up, For Emma, Forever Ago by Bon Iver. I don't have too much to say about this one because I feel like it's all been said before. I mean, this is a modern classic. I feel like with every year, this record gets more influential, and more songwriters will continue to cite this as a source of inspiration. I think it's going to be a cornerstone of, the 21st century folk music. So, yeah, if you haven't heard this, to me, it's essential listening. Up next, Stranger in the Alps by Phoebe Bridgers. I was just talking about her. Yeah, when this record came out, it just like never left my car. It was just over and over and over again. When I saw Phoebe open for Julien Baker, I became an instant fan, and I was so blown away by her lyricism and her melody writing. I remember hearing Funeral live, and it almost made me cry, like watching her sing that song. I really related to the lyrics, and I'd never heard anybody really write a song like that, and it just like blew me away, how direct and honest her writing was. And I'm so glad that song made the cut on this record. And yeah, I think all of my favorite songs from her are on this record. Georgia, Scott Street, Funeral, Motion Sickness, Smoke Signal. I mean, yeah, this really holds a special place in my heart. I can see myself driving around in my head when I think of this record. So, up next, Room by Nels, Cline and Julian Lage. This really expanded my ears so much. I credit this record with getting me interested in like the quote-unquote avant-garde jazz music. People might know Nels Cline from Wilco, and then Julian Lage at the time was like a budding young jazz guitar player known for his like virtuosity. Now Julian is very, very popular. And yeah, this is a duo guitar record, no other instruments, and they're mostly Nels tunes. Julian wrote 2, and there's like 1 improvisation on here. And yeah, this really changed the way that I thought about music. I really, really love the way that they combine elements of free improvisation and avant-garde sounds with melody and structure. They kind of take a page from 2 different books. I feel like a lot of people who get interested in avant-garde music think that means that they have to throw away melody and form and structure. And I feel like these guys combined those things in a way that really spoke to me and continues to influence me to this day. Yeah, I think it's just one of my favorite records of all time. So really special to me. Up next, Songs from a Room by Leonard Cohen. I went through a Leonard Cohen phase in college, actually right before he died, and this from the first time I heard it, I knew this was going to be my favorite Cohen album. Something about the sparseness and the barrenness of this record really spoke to me. There's so many good songs on it. Bird on the Wire, Seems So Long Ago, Nancy, Tonight Will Be Fine, You Know Who I Am. There's something about his voice and like the very, very minimal instrumentation, especially compared to his first record, which has all these strings and sort of like extra instruments, and it sort of clutters, the songs a little bit, in my opinion. And I think the sparseness of this record really fits Leonard's style and allows his lyrics to just like be center stage. This is a great album. Up next, I have this collection of Ornette Coleman records. It's hard to pick just one, but those first couple Atlantic records, Change of the Century, Shape of Jazz to Come, This Is Our Music, Tomorrow Is the Question. Those were all pretty important to me in college. Ornette is someone that always intrigued me, and great melodic player that also took a lot of risks and changed jazz music. His innovation was, soloing without chord changes, and he made a lot of records where there was no piano player, which was very different for jazz musicians at the time. His ability to embrace the unknown really intrigued me, and his music, I think I will continue to learn stuff from it the rest of my life. And I put on these records when I really need inspiration or like to recenter like what I love about music. So Ornette's great. Up next, we have Live at Birdland by John Coltrane. I've always been a big Coltrane fan. After college, I went through a period of being really, really deeply obsessed with the Coltrane Quartet. But I've been a fan since high school, and this was always a record that I really loved, kind of an underrated Coltrane record. I don't hear people reference this one as much, but man, Afro Blue, the first song alone is worth the entire record. There's this moment on Afro Blue where, as McCoy is ending his piano solo, Coltrane comes in with this like the heaviest like long tone note you can hear. He's just wailing, and then Elvin like smacks the drums, and it's like, it's almost like a guitar player hitting a distortion pedal or something, where the whole band just feels like they're ignited. And like that moment alone, it gives me chills every time I hear it. And but the rest of this record is beautiful. I Want to Talk About You, the famous extended solo at the end. Alabama is great. Your Lady, The Promise. It's a great record, and if you've never heard it, it's a beautiful record. Okay, up next we have Voodoo by D'Angelo. Another one where there's not a whole lot to say about it, because it has impacted culture in ways that D'Angelo probably never thought possible. It's redefined what groove is. The innovations of this record, along with Jay Dilla, changing how the beat is felt. Everybody has copied that. There's a pre and post Voodoo when it comes to soul music. I think the thing that people forget about this record is that it's not just about groove, it's about songwriting. I don't think this record would have hit the way it did if the songs weren't structured and written as great as they are. yeah, these are great songs. He's a songwriter who also knew how to groove. So, yeah, amazing record. Up next, Nashville by Bill Frisell. Bill's one of my heroes, one of my favorite musicians of all time. And my love for him really accelerated when I was in college. I heard this record when I was in high school, but it kind of confused me. I was really used to more macho and acrobatic guitar playing, and I remember hearing Bill solo, and I was like, I don't get why he's considered one of the greats. Like, I just didn't get it. I wanted something flashier, and as I listened to more and more of his music, I started to get it more, and I realized like how incredible the stuff he was playing, how incredible it was without being flashy and shreddy. And this record has always been my favorite. I just love the writing on it, you know. His ability to like exist in this like folk country world, but coming at it with the attitude of a jazz player is something that I really admire and has influenced my own writing so much. So, love Bill. Next up, we have Margaret Glaspy, Emotions and Math. This was a really important record for me that I listened to over and over and over again. What I love about Margaret's writing on this album is that she writes parts for the guitar. Like, all these songs have like, she's not just strumming chords, and she's not just playing riffs. It's this beautiful like blend of like melody and harmony, and you know, to cover these songs you gotta like have some chops on the guitar. She's really quite an underrated musician, and with such a unique voice. Love her singing on this record. Great melody writing and lyric writing, and I know this record took her like a really long time to write. Like, she had these songs for a long time, but I think it's a testament to how good these songs are. You know, if you can as a songwriter, if it takes you years to get something out and you still want to play those songs, it means they're good, and these are really good. Up next, we have One from the Vault by the Grateful Dead. This was very impactful to me early on in college, like freshman and sophomore year. Growing up, my dad really did not care for the Dead, and I never heard them growing up, and he always warned me about like, oh, don't ever get into that hippie stuff. And sure enough, you know, you go to college, and yeah, you become a Grateful Dead fan. And yeah, this music meant a lot to me, and I did like a whole deep dive on the Dead. I don't know if I can consider myself like a true Deadhead, because I don't. There's just too much music, you know. The diehard fans know everything, and I'm not close to that, but I know, you know, a good amount, and you know, I enjoy the music. So, and this was one of my favorites. I really like you know, Help on the Way and Eyes of the World, Franklin's Tower, Going Down the Road Feeling Bad. It's just, I mean, yeah, all these songs are amazing. So, okay, next up, Melt Frame by Mary Halvorson, solo guitar record from avant-garde jazz guitar player Mary Halvorson, who's been kind of a leading voice for that style of music in the guitar world. She studied with Anthony Braxton, and I believe she studied with Joe Morris, or I know she's played with him, but she's very tuned into like that style of music. And this record is actually a record of covers, which is really interesting, and it was her first solo guitar record. And what's amazing about this album is that she makes every song feel so different. Like, the solo guitar is really hard, and it's like it's hard just to play, and then it's really hard to like play it for an extended period of time and not have it all sound the same. and she does such a great job of that. She like uses effects in an interesting way. She uses the slide guitar on one song. She, sometimes it's really distorted and sometimes it's really clean, and she has this beautiful sound that where you can hear the acoustic sound of the guitar mixed with the amp. And just like the composers she covers, Oliver Nelson, Ornette Coleman, Duke Ellington, Carla Bley, McCoy Tyner. It's just such a great mix of stuff. And she's just someone I'm always, I love hearing her improvise. I'm not always like a fan of every album she puts out, but I'm always like really interested in what she's doing. I think she's one of the most important voices in modern jazz guitar. So yeah, this is my favorite album from her. Up next, we have Live by Donny Hathaway. The first time I heard this, I was like, what have I been missing? To me, this is like the ultimate groove album. If you want to learn how to play, R&B, rhythm guitar, or just like get your time good enough to like play that music, just like listen to this record over and over and play along with it. I think it has, this might be controversial, but I think it has the definitive version of what's going on. And I really love his cover of You've Got a Friend and Jealous Guy, the John Lennon tune. On You Got a Friend, it's just so cool when you hear the audience singing along. There's something so like heartwarming about this recording where you can hear the crowd like loving it. And Donnie's voice is just immaculate, and his keyboard playing is so great. He really he gets recognized for being such a great singer, but I don't think people realize how crazy of a musician he was. I mean, his keyboard playing is no joke on here. And amazing album. Okay, The Weatherman by Gregory Alan Isakov. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but this record was really big for me my freshman year of college. I played it all summer right before school started, and then that whole first semester. This album feels like a warm hug. Every song is great. There's no skips on it. He has this like just such warm presence with his voice, and just really great writing. And I don't know what else to say. It's just like, it's one of my all-time favorites, and it just feels like a blanket every time I hear it. It's when I listen to it, I just feel like I'm in another world for a little bit, and everything is sweet and beautiful. So Mount Royal by Julian Lage and Chris Eldridge. It was hard to pick just one Julian Lage recording. During college, I really started to get into Julian's playing, and this record, World's Fair, Arclight, I mean, they all meant a lot to me, but this one, I think holds like a special place in my heart. I love the compositions here between Julian and Chris. The first three tracks are like, it's like banger, banger, banger. And then, Chris's singing is really good. The covers are extremely well done, especially Sleeping by Myself, which is this heartbreaking tune written by Eddie Vedder. And it's like cool to hear two like virtuoso guitar players like covering the song from Eddie Vedder's ukulele album. It's like, how do they even know that song? I had never heard it, and it just like, their rendition of it is stunning. Their chemistry and their ability to improvise together is just like second to none. If you really like acoustic guitar players, this is like an amazing record to check out that blends bluegrass with blues and jazz a little bit. But it really is in that acoustic folk bluegrass style. Okay, we got a couple more. We got Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn. To Pimp a Butterfly, I mean, when this came out, there were people in practice rooms at my school, like, trying to figure out Robert Glasper's part on For Free, or like These Walls. I just like this record was everywhere, especially among musicians, and jazz musicians loved how Kendrick like took that genre along with funk music and like fused it with rap. This record is so unique, and I mean it's gotten accolades to death, but I listened to this in my car every day to and from school for like 5 months. Like it just like it just meant so much to me, and it is such an amazing piece of work. And then Damn, while it's not my favorite Kendrick record, I do like it a lot, and I will never forget the day it came out, listening to it for the first time, feeling the hype around the world. It was the first time that I felt like I was like a part of music history. Like it just felt like the whole world was listening to this record at the same time. And yeah, just that feeling of like putting it on and hearing DNA the first time and just being like, oh shit, like I don't know, I'm never gonna forget that. So these are both awesome albums. Yeah, Till the Sun Turns Black by Ray LaMontagne. This was a special record for me. My first girlfriend and I used to listen to this record a lot together, and I just remember it being important the summer of like maybe my sophomore year. I don't quite remember. But yeah, driving around all summer, like listening to this record. Yeah, all these songs are amazing, and Ray's voice and his writing, very underrated. This is a criminally underrated record. I think this and Trouble, which is Ray's first album, are some of the best like folk records of the 2000s. So, Joni Mitchell Blue, again, not much to say about this. It's just, I don't know, the greatest singer-songwriter album ever made. And period. End of story. Kacy Musgraves, Golden Hour. This came out my last year of college, just a few months before graduating. And man, that year and that whole summer, this was in my rotation heavy. I remember initially being like, oh, like this is like a guilty pleasure and this is cheesy and I can't tell people that I like this. And then it like was the biggest album in the world for a year and a half or 2 years. It won Album of the Year at the Grammys, and the production is amazing. The songwriting is great. Her voice sounds really good. It's just like fun, and it's like, yeah, parts of it are a little cheesy, and it's like kind of cool to just like embrace that sometimes. And there's a couple like heartbreakers on this, or like emotional tunes. The title track and Rainbow, yeah, Rainbow especially is a genuinely emotional tune that like, yeah, really brings something out of me when I listen to it. So, amazing record. Okay, Illmatic by Nas. Going into college, I had never really listened to any rap music. It was just a style that I was not into. I had a very pretentious, youthful, like, oh, it doesn't have real instruments, so it's not music. And it, very ignorant. And I credit one of my close friends, Carlos, with helping me get into hip-hop. He showed me Biggie Smalls, and that kind of like got me into exploring all these 90s rap albums. And this is like the best of all time. And again, what is there to say about this? It's just top to bottom, it's perfect. And speaking of more classics, this was the record that got me into hip-hop. Ready to Die by Biggie. I heard Suicidal Thoughts, and the the directness and the frankness really caught me off guard. I was not expecting to hear it. The way he directly talks about like his mother, wishing she had an abortion, and just how down he was. The way he was expressing that, I was not hearing that in any of the folk music I was listening to, and it was just like refreshing to hear such like honesty that was like a little vulgar but like real, and that's what really made me want to listen to this record, and it really made me realize how much great music in hip hop there is. So I'm so grateful for that. Okay, just a couple more. Joe Purdy, who will be next? Criminally underrated songwriter. This is a great record of protest songs and political music. Very relevant now. We need more people writing protest music. And for some reason, I feel like Joe took a hit in popularity a little bit with this record. And I hope that one day history will look back more favorably on him for writing this, because I think it's really hard to write political music that is not corny or patronizing, and he really succeeds at this. It's just he's being a truth teller, and I thank you for the great music on this. A Go-Go by John Scofield. This was kind of my gateway into Scofield, and he has become a big influence on my guitar playing. I don't know if I would put this as my favorite Sco album now, but it would definitely be in my top 5, and I think it's his most accessible, and I don't think there's a bad song on it. It's with Medeski, Martin, and Wood as the rhythm section, and it's just like great song after great song after great song. I think I've learned all of these at some point. You can learn a lot from like learning these heads and like studying some of the solos. Scofield on this record is great at mixing like blues and funk vocabulary with some jazz. There are other records where he sort of like plays in a more jazz bebop orientated way. This record is definitely more groove based, so if you're coming from blues or rock music and trying to get into jazz, this is a really great like bridge into that world. Okay, last two. We have Control by SZA. This was like every like sad late night drive. This was going on in my car. I just like, I couldn't get enough of this record. It's so honest and unashamed, and it's just like so fun to listen to, and it like almost felt like a release listening to it. It's just, I think this will go down as one of the most important R&B records and like albums in general of like the past 20 years or so, and I think this will continue to influence people. Everybody has tried to copy this record, but I don't think anyone will be able to do it as well as SZA did on this record. Modern classic. And my last record here is Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator. This was my introduction to Tyler, like probably a lot of people. And what struck me about this record was he talked about loneliness in a way that felt unique and interesting. His use of like cars as a metaphor is really powerful throughout the album, even though it sounds like it wouldn't be. And he touches on, sexuality and heartbreak and loneliness, and he does it in a way that like really makes you feel connected to what he's saying. And yeah, this was just like, I mean, the summer that this came out, this record and Damn, it was just like all that I listened to that whole summer. Yeah, it will always have like a special place in my heart, and I think to this day this is still my favorite Tyler record. I know that he's gotten a lot of critical acclaim for Igor and Call Me When You Get Lost, but this remains my personal favorite. So, okay, thank you for those who stayed with me through that, and comment some of your favorite records from when you were in college, and I'll probably do another part later on, maybe about my childhood or post-college. So thank you, and I'll see you next time.